Don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. When you buy real estate, you're not going to see it for 5 years, 10 years. You're going to see the returns when you're 45, 50, 55.
It's a big commitment, right?
You can stay at your parents' house rent-free. I would do that. Use that money that you can save to go and buy a place and rent it out, and you'll be so much ahead. I would have rather bought like, 2 properties, rented them out, and I feel like I would have been way more far ahead. Exactly. You and your partner, you two should come together and say, hey, how can we leverage my income, your income, to get us ahead?
What would you say is like the maximum percentage of your total cash that you should invest? How should we invest as a millennial? Well, as a millennial myself, I think that's a super important question that I'm curious about. Because real estate, it's a big commitment, right? It's like, should I put majority of my money in real estate or split it up in stocks and other investments? Well, today, I know you prepared some information for us. So first of all, okay, what age are millennials? So we're 29 then.
Yeah.
What's the upper range of millennial? Millennial age range 28 to 43.
There you go.
That's
See, I told you
big
it changed. Yeah, it's a huge range. Yeah.
But that's too much range. Like someone who's 28 is obviously, because I think most people make like the majority of money maybe after 35.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, what's the average salary in Vancouver? It's like, believe this
low.
or not, it's 45 or 50 grand.
Yeah.
It's low. And if you after taxes and everything, you're not really taking home much, right? So you have to have a really good...
We shouldn't say it's low, it's just, it's not enough to live here.
To live here,
Yeah.
exactly. It's not enough to live here. I think we'll go back to the, why I think it's important. So I always go by saying, it's a saying that you'll see everywhere, but it's like, don't wait to buy real estate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Buy real estate and wait.
Well, we're talking about investing is always time in market is always most important.
Yeah. And I don't think there's no right way to timing, to time an investment. I think you have to sit down, look at your whole situation. So for example, if you are, say, millennial, you're making, I don't know, say 60 to 80K a year, right? I think it's important to, the first, in my opinion, so at this point, would this buyer already have a home? Are they renting?
Well, I think personally, I'm more interested in the investing side.
Okay.
So even for me, like, let's say if I didn't own a home right now, what I would do is I would just stay with my parents if I can, and then just buy an investment property because I want to be financially free.
100%.
That's my first priority.
I think that's, for those listening, if you can stay at your parents' house rent-free, I would do that.
Rent's a lot of money. That's a mortgage payment.
That's a mortgage payment. And then exactly, that's a great point. Use that money that you can save to go and buy a place and rent it out, and you'll be so much ahead, like so far ahead.
Yeah, in a couple of years, after a while, you'll be a homeowner and like you still have money kept from yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of trends right now. I know this might sound crazy, but like co-buying a place with your friends.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Right? Like if you have a best friend and you guys are making good money together, you guys have a good relationship, like why not talk to each other, sit down and draft an agreement and go buy a place together, right? You're splitting the payment by half.
Right.
You still get to own a place and you still get a property that can eventually go up, right?
Well, let's say for investing in real estate as a millennial, what would you say is like the maximum percentage of your total cash that you should invest?
That's a good question. I think it depends on your risk tolerance.
What's a high risk tolerance? What percentage would that be?
I mean, at that point, it would be taking all your savings.
No, that's too much.
Not all your savings, but it would mean not doing stocks. It would mean not doing cryptocurrency. It would mean that you fully trust real estate as an asset that you want to invest in, right?
For me, like my definition of risk tolerance is my high risk tolerance would be like 50-60% of my money. My medium would be like 30% and low is like under 15.
I find it's very difficult for some investors, at least in our millennial, to like have a bunch of crypto, a bunch of stocks, a bunch of real estate. I feel like you almost have to choose. At least for me, I'm a type of person, because I sell real estate obviously, and I see the value of it. I can't come to terms with buying something that I can't physically see, or like for me, there's a lot of leverage.
So you're not involved in any.
No, I mean I've dabbled with stocks, I dabbled with crypto, but it just wasn't for me. Like I learned the hard way. Long story short.
Well, if you're the same age as me, you probably start dabbling in stocks during the soar, and then you probably got hit on the fall.
Yeah, I got hit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's painful. Most people around our age learned not to mess with stocks.
And now that I look back at it, like I would have rather bought like 2 properties, rented them out, and I feel like I would have been way more far ahead. But I think that that's something that it all depends on the person.
Right. Well,
right?
I think it's super important to invest in what you know.
Yeah.
With stocks, like don't buy individual stocks if you're not going to monitor it. But it's also with real estate. But most people don't know about real estate.
No.
So, but how are they going to invest in it if they don't know about it?
I think the most important thing is you have to have a good team by your side.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, get an agent you trust that understands the market, understands you,
Right.
your situation. You got to get everyone on board. Your accountant, your mortgage broker, like, right? It's a plan. So you need to like really.
Yeah. But plans change, and then are these people going to be around when plans are changing? It's not always, right?
Well, what do you mean by plans change?
Well, plans change could be like it could be government policies. It could be your own financial income. Maybe you get laid off.
You get laid off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Obviously, that's those are things that can happen. But as long as you have a goal or a plan in place, where I say, hey, like I want to buy a property by this year, like, and once you're in the market, there's a lot of leverage, right? You can use. People don't realize, but once you have a property that, even if you have a margin, like that's when you start to have that power where you can open up other doors.
Right.
You can eventually get the equity there, take the equity there, get another place. Like that's what I'm starting to see.
But
and
to do that, you probably need a certain amount of income.
You need income.
Like, what would you say that amount of income would be?
You
need to get approved to do that.
You need to get approved
That's
to
the
do
most
that.
important thing.
Yeah, you need income. I would say that's the toughest issue right now that we're facing is
Because like corporate jobs, like unless you're in tech or finance, you're probably not making like over 120,000.
No.
Like most jobs is like 80,000, 100,000 already pretty good in most corporate jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
which nowadays, unfortunately, 100K is.
Yeah, but that's the hardest part about these like lower wages and corporate jobs. It's hard to get approvals like for loans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's the toughest thing, and so that's maybe why it comes down to the co-ownership.
Yeah, co-buying.
Co-buying.
Well, it's also household income.
Co-buying, household income, exactly. You and your partner.
Right.
I'm seeing that a lot nowadays. Like, you know, if you have a partner, you're married or whatever, you two should come together and say, hey, how can we, you know, leverage my income, your income to get us ahead?
What about what about co-buying with your parents? What is one house? Only spouses count as households, right? And kids under 18, like what counts as a household? Do you know?
Yeah, it's typically you and your spouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can't include your parents.
No.
Okay. But I could co-buy with my parents.
You could co-buy with your parents.
Okay.
They can be guarantors. You can also do that.
Why don't people do more of that?
I'm starting to see it. I'm starting to see it. As crazy as this sounds, I feel like if you're in a position where you have parents that are willing to help you, I would be telling them every day, help me out, you know, because the unfortunate reality is that our parents bought, you know, most of our parents bought properties 20 years ago when they were worth like pancakes, literally. And now they're worth so much, right? And so they've gotten all that equity. Why not use that to get you back in the market?
Well, different generations will face different problems.
Exactly.
It's like, imagine like 20 years from now, like our kids are helping us, telling us to help us to buy crypto for them or something, whatever it is. Yeah.
No way I'm doing that.
But yeah, if you're a person who has like good income and you can pay off your mortgages consistently, like your parents being guarantor, they're not forking out any money. They're just they're a safety net.
Exactly.
But you gotta have a good relationship with parents. They gotta trust you.
They gotta trust you. They gotta trust you for sure, because ultimately, if you can't sustain that mortgage and you don't have the income and you're not responsible, then obviously the bank's gonna come after. You know, your parents, right?
But in most cases, if you're pretty good, just having your parents as guarantor is a pretty good solution to that.
Yeah.
I feel like rental incomes aren't high enough to cover mortgages these days.
They're not. The process of cash flowing is completely gone. Right. That's no longer a thing anymore.
Right. And then it's so odd investing in something that doesn't have cash flow. Well, I guess a lot of stocks, unless you're a dividend stock investing, also has no cash flow. So that's purely a capital gains investment. But stocks is cheaper.
Yeah, stocks are way cheaper. I mean, I think with real estate, it's not instant gratification, right? And I think that's something that's really hard for a lot of millennials. I feel like we want instant gratification. We want to put money into something and we want to see it come around in like 1, 2, 3 years. But unfortunately, the reality situation is you won't see, when you buy real estate, you're not going to see it for 5 years, 10 years. That's kind of the mindset you have to have. Like if you start to think that long ahead, like think about it. Like, okay, say you're 30 years old. If you start investing, you're going to see the returns when you're 45, 50, 55.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think it depends on the time range. I think if you're like 30, it's okay to invest because like 35 is a good time to, you know, be getting some money. But if you're 35, 40 already and you're investing, I'm not sure if that's worth it because you're You know, at that time you should already be trying to enjoy some life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
And
it's
I
your
mean,
first investment and it's a big chunk of your money.
yeah, if
Yeah.
it's your first investment, I think at that point, you probably want to have it quite minimal risk as well. In my opinion, like I don't know if I would go too crazy, and also getting really into like, obviously investing is good, but now diving in the next step is where to invest, like right, like what you should invest to. There's also you can also do. I'm starting to see now. You can invest in projects like not pre-sale projects, but even like developer projects, for example, like on a smaller scale.
Real estate, well, there's other types of real estate investments that are cash flow. Like, there's also like if you invest in, what is it, rental buildings.
Yeah.
Right? Pre-sale on rental buildings. Are those good investments?
Um,
Because do those give you cash flow? They rent it out for you.
I don't mind pre-sale. I feel like it was a better market to invest in 5 years, like 3 to 5 years.
Pre-sale like residential versus pre-sale rental only is
rental
different,
only,
right?
Yeah.
I haven't learned too much about the rental only buildings, but if those should be providing cash flow, right? Because they only rent out. You're not allowed to live in there.
You're not allowed to live in there. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I need to double check, but there's a new program coming out. It's between 2025 and 2030, and so it's like a rental only for rental buildings only programs.
Yeah.
So I think there's no PTT, no property transfer tax if you're a buyer buying into one of those. The question is with a lot of those buildings is what's the rent going to be like? Like, does it, you know what I mean?
And
Does
what
it
happens
cover-
if it doesn't rent? How
happens
hard
if
are
it
they
doesn't
trying
rent?
to rent it out for you?
Yeah, exactly. So there's obviously a lot of variables. Look when you're looking into that. I mean, I personally I like to look at so you're a big cash flow guy. I feel like it's tough to get that cash flow.
Well, you think it's okay to invest without a cash flow mindset?
I do, as long as the appreciation's there, right?
Yeah, that's I guess why do I have a cash flow mindset? I think I just watched too much Shark Tank. But cash flow and appreciation, it really only depends on like when you need to use the money. Cash flow is just you're more liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
There, we have a guest. Oh no, her treats. Take her treats. It's okay.
you're right. Cash flow is really important, but then also if you look at like say 10 years, like imagine having that asset that you bought, then you can.
Well, I think the most important thing about cash flow is liquidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 10-year investment is not liquid.
No.
And if you have any turmoil in between, then it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
Yeah, so I think, maybe I'm a cash flow guy because I'm a guy who takes a lot of risks. And there are many times I might need to pull money out very fast.
So
now we talk more about it. I think people who have stable jobs, who are working very good corporate, it makes sense to do these longer appreciation investments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. As long as you can, like I said, like you get a good team on your side, and you really have a plan, right? Like, I think the stocks are good. I think crypto's good for some people, but I feel like real estate's a very easy, safe investment in that aspect.
Right.
It's low risk.
Right.
But you have to have that long-term 10-year mindset.
Yeah.
Right?
10-year mindset.
It's a 10-year mindset.
Okay, what's the lowest amount of money that I should be investing? Because there's probably a threshold, right? If you invest like, let's say like under 500, if you buy something at East Hastings, that might be, actually 10 years, that might be a good investment.
Yeah.
I don't think East Hastings is going to get worse.
No, I don't think so.
One last question, then we got to rack it up.
Sure.
Okay, let's say I'm a buyer. I want to invest, but obviously as a millennial, let's say on the lower age, our budgets, we can probably only invest in something like 500 to 800,000, right?
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. I think it doesn't make sense to seek out a realtor to keep doing these investments because first of all, on the realtor side is if it was that good or undervalued, the realtor should get it themselves. Second thing, if this realtor is the person who specifically finds undervalued deals to clients, they're making so little commission because everything's such a low price point, right? Unless your client's giving them bonuses. But obviously the client doesn't have money right now. So if they want to invest in this price point, you probably got to do most of the research yourself, right?
Yes and no. I mean, you shouldn't be doing the research yourself. If you are, then your agent's not doing a job. To be honest, I mean, I think.
But why would any agent who's that good at finding undervalued properties want to make so little money off of low commissions?
Well, I mean, it's for us though. Like, it's not. I mean, obviously, the paycheck is what everyone works for the paycheck, and obviously, when we transact, we get paid. But for me, like for example, I would be happier. Just being honest, I'd be happier having my buyer just made 50,000 of equity on a purchase.
It's fun.
Than me, then like sure, I make like 5K, 10K, whatever. But I just made my friend client 50 grand. Like it's a win for me, win for him, right? Like he's stoked. She's
you're
stoked.
building up your testimonial as well. Right?
Exactly.
And in the future, maybe you get these bigger clients. Oh, if you can help them make that money, you can help me make bigger money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like for us, at least one of the reasons why I got into the business is because like we're in a job like as a realtor. Our thing is we change the direction of someone's lives. Buy a purchase, right? Like we kind of like help them, guide them into like enhancing their quality, right? Through real estate investments and purchases. And so that's kind of what we get out of it, right? Like we obviously get the paycheck, but then we feel good that we've helped our client get ahead from a financial position, right?
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Nabil.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.